what made me want to get in the music business, or just get into music was being around it, growing up with my mother and father, listening to classic rock, disco, and R&B music with my mom. And my mother was singing in a band with her brothers. Wasn't nothing big time, but they put together a couple 45s, and my dad played drums. So I guess I had some sort of rhythm there. And I went out breakdancing. I was in a breakdancing crew called Atomic Rock, and we were breakdancing at this place called Trail Skateway in Palm Beach. And this DJ named Scratch D, David Noller, was out there. He was the DJ, and he actually DJ'd for our crew. We were pretty good at the time, and I was so fascinated by what he was doing. And he showed me about his mixtapes and his editing and all that. It was awesome. So from that point on, I had this itch to be a DJ, to be the guy that was scratching and cutting. And I eventually got a set of turntables, but before then, I used my father's. I think it was like a realistic stereo system with a volume knob, and I used to practice on that. He used to whip my ass when I messed with that. But I think the very first record I cut was Crazy Train by Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne. And just happened to be, later I'll tell you about that. But so yeah, I got into DJing and started making tapes for my buddies down here on this end, because my mother lived in this area down in Broward, and my father lived up in Palm Beach, so I'd go back and forth, learn a little from Dave, come down here. And so that's how I really got it started, in DJing.
And from there, I guess we'll go CutItUpDef, like you and me meeting. You met with Johnny and Aaron and all them before me, so let's go into like how you first met, like Bob Smith and all those guys.
So, my start in music professionally, I was DJing at a couple, local clubs and, skating rinks, this ice skating rink at Lighthouse Point, and doing, occasional contests. And I ran into this guy, Aaron Goney, Aaron G, as you guys know him. And he approached me about doing this record label joint venture with a gentleman named Bob Smith. And so we went up and met with Bob. Bob had a satellite dish company, back when satellites were the size of this house. And we talked ideas. He had some good ideas about how to start a record label, and all we cared about was getting in the studio and making music. So he was able to fund this label and kind of get us some equipment to start. So he bought us 808 drum machine and an SP12 drum machine and all the little tools we needed, and we started from there. And we were making beats and trying different things. I think Aaron had tried to make beats at one point and decided to just focus on rapping, and I was doing most of the beat making at the time. And then we ran into this other guy named Willie. He was called Gemini, and he was a serious rapper. Back in the day, we were like, this dude is the man, So we started working with him, and this guy Jonsin came into the picture. Johnny Torres, right? I got that right?
Yep.
Johnny Torres. And then I was introduced to this young man named Chris, Jock D. He was my arch rival. No, he was super dope as a DJ, and he kind of came in as like the reinforcements. It made our team super strong. We had 2 DJs, 2 producers. We were kind of responsible for the majority of the music at that time, and it kind of started growing from there. I think Gemini even dabbled in making some beats and stuff, but that's kind of where I got my start. And I believe in 87, 88, we stumbled across a couple of decent records that we thought were decent, and they ended up being really good and turned into some regional hit records, CutItUpDef. There was one called Miami Skeezer that we did, Chris and I, and Party Time, and a bunch of records. It was just every couple of months we would drop a 12-inch, which was great. It's kind of like what these kids have now with the internet. They can upload their music. We just went and took our records to the DJs, and we had support from some of the local DJs and people like DJ Laz, and that's kind of where that got started there.